Scott, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is confirming the first case of human-to-human transmission in the United States of the novel coronavirus. They are turning it over now on the call that's going on right now to the Illinois Department of Health. So it appears it would be in conjunction with that case that had been confirmed in a person who traveled back to Chicago from Wuhan, China. They say right now they do still believe that the immediate risk to the American public is low, but that first human-to-human transmission has been observed here. CDC saying that was not necessarily unexpected, guys. We're going to hop back on the call and bring you more headlines and more details as we get them. Scott, back to you.
Okay, Meg, we appreciate that.
Don't expect this bartender to listen to sad stories about your love life. He's made of metal and plastic and has no heart. The world's first 100% robotic bar opened in Las Vegas in June. It's a novelty, but also a warning sign. Till now, most automation-related job losses have been in manufacturing. That's about to change.
Now it's moving over to the service sector, and that makes a big difference.
Jobs such as cashiers, such as bank tellers, jobs in the service industries, jobs in food preparation, jobs in office support, office administrative support. A lot of these jobs have a high risk of automation in the coming 10 or 20 years.
It's already happening in retail stores. More people are shopping online. Forbes magazine estimates 21 retailers will shut 3,500 stores in the U.S. this year. That equals tens of thousands of lost jobs for salespeople and support staff. Who is most at risk? Experts say African Americans, Hispanics, female workers of all races, and people without a college education will lose jobs to automation at the highest rates.
And that's going to really change the face of our society.
Certain cities will be hit the hardest.
About 61% of the jobs in Las Vegas could be automated in the coming 20 years or so. And a lot of these jobs are office and administrative support. They're in sales, they're in food preparation. And so within those industries, we see a lot of workers, doing tasks that could be taken over by a robot in the coming years.
It seems that American workers and policymakers are not ready for the massive economic and social disruption this new wave of automation could bring.
As a society, I don't see us prepared. Our politicians are remarkably silent about this issue. Historically, of course, we have seen plenty of technological waves, but we claim this time it's different. It's really different.
No one knows how this seemingly unstoppable wave of automation will play out. But in communities where mining and manufacturing jobs were replaced by robots, people are suffering from widespread poverty, depression, drug abuse, and alcoholism. Those robot bartenders are going to be busy. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, Los Angeles.
It's untraceable, like you asked.
How? Explain.
I used a Ripple exchange to have the fiat currency converted to eCash and then into Bitcoin. I ran the whole transaction through a randomized cryptographic extension at the protocol level, then through a two-tier secure laundry service I know I can trust. No one's gonna catch you, I promise.
Bitcoin, totally untraceable.
While dollar bills are traded through a bank, Bitcoin is traded peer-to-peer. That
See, Mom?
means no
Pretty
bank can
colors.
charge you fees.
Fun, right?
No one can freeze
Thanks, Zach.
While Bitcoin
So,
transactions are anonymous,
you don't buy Bitcoin?
No, you can. There are currency traders online.
Yeah, one Bitcoin's worth $3.
It used to be $33. People were hoarding.
But that's not how it gets into circulation. You mine it, like gold. The guy who invented it created this program that releases blocks of Bitcoin over time.
The deep web, I've heard of that.
Oh, yeah, no, 96% of the internet isn't accessible through standard search engines. Most of it's useless, but it's where you go to find anything and everything. Child porn, Bitcoin laundering, mail-order narcotics, hackers for hire.
How do you access it?
It's actually pretty easy. I can show you if you want.
You know, in Haitian voodoo, Papa Legba is the gatekeeper at the crossroads between life and death.
Yeah, well, I think Bell figured out Papa Legba's real identity. So why didn't he turn him in? Blackmail. He wanted $500,000 in Bitcoins to keep Papa Legba's identity a secret.
Okay.
know that they're involved in a secret financial manipulation and that they want it kept secret. And so I'm prepared to trade, Mr. Naftari. My silence in exchange for Winterchem.
But you have Winterchem.
Our contract has to be renegotiated so that if Borough National goes under, I don't lose my company to the Saudis. My silence is the only leverage I have.
Forgive me, but silence about what? Some secret financial manipulation? You expect them to believe me if I use those words? Water.
You cannot pull $95 million in one chunk from a bank the size of Borough National. When I undertook to manage this plan, you agreed to do it gradually in small amounts. You're now starting to move billions in a matter of weeks.
The world economic situation is deteriorating more rapidly than we had thought. We don't think we can afford to wait, Max.
There will be no collapse in the foreseeable future unless you panic and start it with some damn fool move like this.
And if you are wrong, what then? We wake up one morning, our oil is gone. We find that we have sold all we have in exchange for paper money that is worthless.
When the Arabs learn that word of what they've been doing is out, they may panic. Move a big chunk of funds too fast or the wrong way. Really destabilize the monetary markets. Then the dollar will collapse. Whereupon there'll be a lot of jawboning by the president, and that won't work. Then they'll go to selling gold, and that won't work either. Then they'll have to go to capital controls, freeze foreign assets, stop any money from going in or out, and that will be the end of all the markets. That'll really be the finish. Then you'll see a worldwide depression that'll make the 1930s look like a kindergarten. In 2 months, you'll have bread lines in Detroit, riots in Pittsburgh. In 6 months, you'll see grass right over Rodeo Drive, and Michigan Boulevard, and Fifth Avenue, and I won't have done it, Hub. You will. All because you tried to stop a movement that couldn't be stopped anyway. Listen to me, Hub. Money, capital, has a life of its own. It's a force of nature, like gravity, like the oceans. It flows where it wants to flow. This whole thing with the Arabs and gold is inevitable. We're just going with the tide. The only question is whether you want to let it go like an unguided missile and raise hell, or whether you want to keep it in the hands of responsible people. Keep it channeled. Keep it quiet. Believe me, Hub, the dollar will hold. Believe me. The system will be fine, providing nobody panics.
It began 8 days ago when a group of Arab investors withdrew billions of dollars from U.S. banks. That in turn started a chain reaction on the world money markets. Dollars, pounds, marks, francs, yen. Not one currency escaped. This scene outside a Manhattan bank was duplicated all over the world as people saw their life savings become worthless in a matter of hours. Good evening. I'm George Page in New York, and this is another in our series of reports on the world economic crisis. The growing paralysis of the industrial world has left millions without jobs, without money, and without hope. Crowds of unemployed poured into Washington yesterday. They stood in silent protest before the nation's leaders. At the same time, more than 1 million people packed St. Peter's Square, where the Pope urged calm and nonviolence. The pontiff asked for prayers for world leaders, prayers and peace and reason. But the last 24 hours have been marked by growing protests and ever-increasing violence. Last night, demonstrators burned American currency in front of the White House, and attempts to put out the fires led to a confrontation with police. Every hour, from every corner of the globe, there are new reports of outraged crowds demanding action. A bankrupt world seems to be teetering on the very edge of anarchy.
And will prosper. We face our common difficulties. They concern, thank God, only material things. Each age is a dream that is dying, or one that is coming to birth.
Apple's up more than 6% right now. Google about 3%, but Dell, Intel, Research Motion, and Microsoft are all to the upside. Look how strong.
Trading did not disappoint. 400 points higher. Yes, indeed. The markets roar higher last 30 minutes of trading as volatility once again rules the day.
Most of the techs this morning, if not all of them, have just exploded to the
now down 43%.
What in the world is happening on Wall Street?
2-year note yields went from 190 to 166 in the blink of an eye.
On the NASDAQ, everything and more has been completely wiped out.
It was the worst day on Wall Street since the crash of 1987.
From the financial capital of the world, the opening bell is going to ring in 5 seconds, and to be honest with you, we wish it wouldn't.
Traders here working the phone say a lot of their customers are freaked out, waiting to see how low the Dow will go. They're focused on the Dow, not so focused on OPEC. Yes, OPEC did cut production by 1.5 million barrels per day.
Really, you're seeing just broad-based declines across all of the major technology sectors. Apple's under pressure, Yahoo down 8.5%, Cisco 6.5%, Research in Motion 10%.
And we're not getting the bid wanted. We're not getting the stop trading, and we see where the buyers are. We're just, every day they're pounding it.
The heightened financial turmoil that we have experienced of late may well lengthen the period of weak economic performance and further increase the risk to growth.
Can't look at it after you buy it because it's so horrible.
But we've had an 8-day losing streak in the Dow that in percentage terms puts it on par, close to the loss suffered in that crash in 1987, close to that percentage loss those 2 days in 1929.
What started in America last year has now spread to every part of the world.
We're down 9% today. The Xetra DAX over in Frankfurt is down by 9%. The Paris market down by 9%. Austria, which was briefly suspended earlier on in the day, is down by nearly 11%.
This market is as volatile as you'll ever see.
Traders saying this is the craziest day they have ever seen in these markets. Veteran traders saying they've never seen it.
And that means life, as most Americans know it, is about to change, in some cases dramatically.
Say Libra was something of lit a bit of a fire. This is something we've been focused on digital currencies for a couple decades. This is something we've been focused on digital currencies for a couple decades.
Specifically on cryptocurrencies, we are spending a lot of time on this on both an interagency basis and with the regulators. We're about to roll out some significant new requirements at FinCEN. We want to make sure that technology moves forward, but on the other hand, we want to make sure that cryptocurrencies aren't used for the equivalent of old Swiss secret number bank accounts. So we share your concerns, and you'll be seeing a lot of work coming out very quickly.